There's one part of your resume that could work against you. 3 jobs, maybe 4, and each one lasted less than you hoped. So when the interviewer asks, "Why have you changed jobs so often?" you're not just thinking about what to say. You're thinking, do they already see me as a job hopper?
That's what makes this question so uncomfortable. Even when every job change had a reason, the pattern can still look bad.
Exactly. And that fear can push you into a dangerous answer, explaining every resignation, every company, every reason, hoping the interviewer will understand. But the more you defend your past, the more attention you bring to it, because the interviewer may have a bigger concern. If we hire this person, will we be looking for their replacement 6 months from now?
So I shouldn't try to justify every move?
No, your real job is to make your next move feel different from the ones before it. And to do that, we first need to understand what frequent job changes can signal from the interviewer's side.
Then let's find out what they're really worried about.
Let's start with what happens inside the candidate's mind. When you have several short jobs on your resume, you may feel that you're entering the interview with something to prove.
Yes, I'd probably think I need to convince them that none of those job changes were bad decisions.
Right, and that pressure creates the first problem. You start treating every job like a separate case you need to defend. You might say, "I left the first job because the schedule changed. The second company reorganized my department. Then I accepted another position, but the role turned out to be very different from what I expected." All of those reasons might be true, but listen to how the answer feels.
It sounds like I'm asking the interviewer to approve every decision I made.
And when candidates feel judged, they often give too many details. They explain dates, managers, working conditions, personal decisions, anything that might prove I'm not the problem. But that can trap you in your past. Now, let's switch seats. Imagine you're the interviewer. You're not looking at each job separately. You're looking at the pattern. 3 short stays can create 3 very practical concerns. First, what makes this candidate leave? Does the person walk away when expectations change? Do they lose interest quickly? Are they constantly checking for another position? Second, how carefully does this person choose a job? If several positions became poor matches within a short period, the interviewer may wonder whether the candidate fully understood those roles before accepting them.
So even if I didn't do anything wrong, they may question how I make career decisions.
Exactly. And then comes the biggest concern. What happens if we hire you? Think about it from the employer's side. A new employee needs onboarding. Managers spend time explaining systems and responsibilities. Teammates adjust. The company expects that investment to last. So when the interviewer sees repeated short stays, they may quietly calculate, are we about to repeat the same pattern?
And that's why explaining my old jobs isn't enough.
Exactly. Here is the shift candidates need to understand. Your reasons for leaving explain what happened before. They do not automatically reduce the risk of what could happen next. Suppose you give perfectly reasonable explanations for 4 job changes. The interviewer could still think, okay, I understand why you left them, but why should this situation end differently? That is the question underneath the question.
So I need to answer something they may never actually ask me.
Yes, and this is where a strong candidate separates themselves from a defensive one. A defensive candidate tries to prove every departure was justified. A stronger candidate shows those moves gave me enough information to make a more deliberate decision now. Notice the difference. One keeps pulling the conversation backward. The other shows that the pattern has reached a turning point.
So I shouldn't erase the pattern, I should show what changed after it.
You cannot rewrite your resume during the interview, but you can change the meaning the interviewer attaches to it. Instead of seeing someone who simply moves from job to job, they need to see someone who now understands their decisions much more clearly and is choosing the next position with much greater care. That is the real challenge behind this question.
Then the answer needs to do more than explain. It needs to change the interviewer's prediction.
Exactly. And next, we'll build an answer that does exactly that, without excuses, without a long career story, and without making promises you can't prove. Now, how can you answer this question without giving a long explanation? Use 3 simple steps. First, be honest about your job changes. You can say, "Yes, I've changed jobs a few times in the past few years." Simple. No excuses, no long story.
So I don't need to explain every job?
Absolutely. Second, tell them what you learned from those changes. For example, those jobs helped me understand what kind of work is right for me and what I need from my next job. This shows that your past helped you make better choices. Third, explain why you are more careful now. You could say, "Now I take more time to understand a job before I accept it. I want to choose a position that I can stay in and do well for a long time."
That sounds much easier. I'm not trying to prove that every old decision was right.
Exactly. You're showing that you make better choices today. And remember, don't promise, "I will never leave." You can't know that. Instead, show the interviewer why you are choosing your next job more carefully.
Got it. But what answers can make the interviewer worry even more?
Good question. Let's look at 3 answers you should avoid. Okay, Tom, let's go to number 1. "I left because I always found a better job." It may sound positive, but the interviewer may think, "What if this person finds a better job after we hire them?"
So it can make me sound like I'm always looking for something else.
Exactly. Then go to number 2. "I didn't like my managers." Be careful with this answer. If you blame several managers, the interviewer may wonder, is the manager really the problem every time? Keep your answer focused on your own choices, not other people. And number 3, "I just haven't found the right company yet." This sounds harmless, but it creates another question. What if our company isn't right for you either?
So all 3 answers give the interviewer another reason to worry.
Right. Here's the key. Don't spend your answer proving why you had to leave. Show what you understand better today. Your past jobs are already on your resume. You don't need to fight them. You need to show that your next choice is more careful.
Now I want to hear how this works in a real interview.
Perfect. Let's hear how a candidate handles this question when the interviewer asks a difficult follow-up.
Daniel, I noticed you've had several jobs in the past few years. Why have you changed jobs so often?
Yes, I understand why you're asking. Earlier in my career, I made some job decisions too quickly. I often focused on the position itself, but I didn't always think carefully about whether the job was right for me long term. Those experiences taught me to be more careful when choosing my next position.
I understand, but how do we know you won't leave this job after a year?
That's a fair question. This time, I've taken more time to understand the role before applying. I read the job description carefully, learned about the daily work, and thought about whether this position matches what I want to do for the next few years.
And what would make you stay with a company?
For me, clear responsibilities, good communication, and the chance to become better at my work are important. I'm looking for a place where I can stay, become stronger in my role, and take on more responsibility over time.
That makes sense. Thank you for explaining that.
Of course, I understand why my work history may raise questions, so I'm glad we could talk about it.
So, today we learned that "why have you changed jobs so often" is not only a question about your past.
The interviewer also wants to know if I might leave their company too.
Exactly. So remember 3 things. First, be honest about your job changes. Don't give a long excuse for every job. Second, explain what those experiences taught you. And third, show why you are choosing your next job more carefully.
So I don't need to make my work history look perfect.
Right. You just need to show that you understand your choices better today. Your resume tells the interviewer where you've been. Your answer should tell them what will be different now. If this question makes you nervous, practice your answer before your next interview. And if you want more simple English lessons for difficult interview questions, subscribe to Focus English with Cece.
Keep practicing, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.